Good evening and welcome to Metro Focus. I'm Jack Ford. There are a lot of moving parts to all of the action going on down on Capitol Hill as the White House, seemingly in turmoil, has both parties at odds and at an impasse on many things, from the latest on the Russia investigation to your taxes, gun control, and a debate over the census. We're going to cover all of those bases in just a moment. But first, our breaking story tonight, President Trump ordering troops along the Mexico border to help ease the flow of illegal immigrants. Apprehensions there, we're told, are at their lowest level in 37 years. That, according to the U.S. Border Patrol data, while illegal immigration specifically from Mexico is at its lowest level in 50 years. Joining us now with a look at all of that, all that's going on, it's our pleasure, as always, to have New York Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney here with some reaction and analysis. Congresswoman, always nice to see you.
Always nice to see you and to be on your important show.
Yeah, thank you so much. So let's start with the notion of troops now being sent to the Mexico border. Your perspective, do you think it's necessary at this point?
No, I don't, and I don't want to militarize our border, nor do I think Democrats want the military at our border, and I don't think the military themselves want to be there. I think that the president yesterday has called for the National Guard, of the governors to send the National Guard to the border. This is something that both President Obama and President, I can't even say his name. Yeah. The worst president.
George W. Bush.
President in the history, 2 wars and blew $15 billion and a trillion, really, in a financial surplus. But he also sent troops, or rather, National Guard to the border. There was reports that there was supposed to be a huge influx, but we haven't seen it yet. But the National Guard is an appropriate fallback position. I do not believe America wants to militarize and arm the border with one of our closest allies.
The 2 previous presidents have taken similar steps. President Barack Obama sent 1,200 National Guard troops. President George W. Bush said about 6,000. They were told specifically they were there not to be armed, but to assist in various functions. So the administration has said, we're just doing what 2 previous presidents before us have done. Isn't there some validity to that argument?
National Guard, there's validity, but his first call was to send the American military, to have our troops, our trained troops that are there to defend us, to have the military itself there, and I assume armed. Like all of his tweets, it's not clear what he means, and the policy hasn't been worked out exactly in what form. I do not support militarizing our border, but we have used the National Guard in times of stress when we do not have enough border patrol.
If it turns out that the idea is to mirror essentially what President Obama and President Bush did, National Guard troops not engaged strictly in law enforcement, but as assistance, as a presence, would you be okay with that?
It depends on what is the threat. They say that there is this large group of asylum seekers, almost 1,500, marching towards the border. If that truly is happening, you have to see the specifics. Then it may be appropriate. But like anything, it's hard to talk about what ifs. I am totally against having the military at the border, but the National Guard historically has come in and provided assistance to Border Patrol when they feel they need it. So I think it needs to be looked at, and the specifics have to be presented to Congress. It's a tweet.
We need the detail. We need the details.
It's like 3 sentences. So you need to know what is truly behind it. Is there, in fact, there's been some reports that it's been disbanded. I don't know, this so-called influx of asylum seekers. So I don't know. We have to see what the facts are. We'll be back in Congress on Tuesday, and I'll give you a phone call and tell you.
We'll get the details, and we'll talk some more.
I'll give you the details once they are figured out. But right now, It's nothing more than a tweet.
All right. Let's shift to some other focuses. Guns. There's been a significant uptick in discussions, conversations, proposals about gun safety. You're involved now. You have some suggestions that you want to push forward in Congress. Tell us about the elements of your proposal.
Well, I have roughly 7 different bills before Congress, and I truly feel that something's different now because the American public has just had it. And the student leadership, not just in Florida, I would say across the country, is having such a great impact. I
saw a term, and it was youthquake. There's
The
a
youthquake, that's a
taking
good
place.
term. I feel that something's different. And in the omnibus bill, there were two changes, and we made some progress. One was they removed the prohibition on studying gun safety. And I've had a bill in with Senator Markey on that for years, but they did not put the funding in. And the other was to strengthen the National Instant Background Check FBI central area where we check for background checks. The bill I'm introducing when I go back on Tuesday and really meeting with gun groups today is the NICS fix bill that it would allow the FBI to have audit ability on background checks. In 2004, the Republicans changed the system that you only had 24 hours to audit, and then it had to be destroyed.
The records had to be destroyed.
And prior to 2004, you had 90 days. There have been some test cases from GAO where they've gone in and looked at what has happened, and they found that many people game the system, use false names.
So this would keep those records available for 90 days now
so that
for
there
law
could be an
enforcement,
audit.
just to make sure there's nothing there that got missed.
Yeah, and so that criminals and people who should not have guns, who are dangerous to society, they can go back and take those guns away from them.
Do you have a sense that there's some bipartisan support for that element?
I certainly hope so. Jack, as I said, I feel something different. This youthquake is having an impact. They've also called for every member of Congress to have a town hall meeting this weekend. I'm having mine with Nydia Velasquez in Brooklyn at a middle school. You can go to my Facebook event calendar or my website to find out where it is, and come if you'd like. So every member of Congress, Republican and Democrat, should be having this. And I think the student leadership, I was part of the March for Our Lives, as was many others, as support to the students that led this march, and also the walkout. How dumb can you be? How to not have sensible gun safety laws? Believe me, Jack, if guns made you safer, we'd be the safest country on earth. We're far from it. We have more gun violence than any other industrialized country by far. More senseless killings, and the young people are saying, I want to be safe to go to school.
In the news, again, very recently, has been this suggestion by the administration that they want to include a question about citizenship on the upcoming census. As you know, every 10 years, we're required through the Constitution to conduct a census here. You've indicated that you are joining in with Attorney General Eric Schneiderman. There have been a number of attorneys general who are in the process of filing suit, saying they want to stop this. Well, why? We only have a minute or so here, but why do you believe that it's inappropriate to include a question about citizenship on the census?
It's important in representation and the distribution of over $700 billion in federal funds. And the citizenship question was thrown in without being studied. Most of the questions are studied for 3 years. I have a bill in that says you don't put in questions at the last minute that have not been studied and approved by the Census Bureau and the professionals. 5 of the last census directors have come out in both administrations against this proposal. The idea in the Constitution is that you should count everyone, and professionals are saying that the citizenship question will result in an undercount in immigrant populations in urban areas like New York City and California and other states, because they won't answer it. They'll go underground. They won't answer it, and people who sympathize with immigrants, immigrant families, won't answer it. So it'll result in an undercount, so that your funding formulas won't be accurate, and federal funding formulas are all tied to census numbers, so it's critical. Also, your reapportionment and representation numbers are tied to census numbers. So if you're not counted, then you're not represented, you're not funded. And also the private sector relies on it tremendously for research of where's the country going, what's happening. It is the most important scientific document that we produce on our country, and it should be accurate. Why do a census if you're going to put a question on that every professional, including 5 census directors, both Republican and Democrat, have said, don't do it, it's wrong, is going to produce an undercount? Well, as you said, it's absolutely wrong.
A number of attorneys general involved here, some litigation. Our hope is, as always, we can get you back here and talk some more as these issues progress. Congresswoman, it's always a pleasure to have you here with us.
Thank you.
Be well.
Great to be with you.
Good seeing you, as always.
Good to see you.
Take care.
Great.